Hello everybody, or anybody that's happened to want a little bit of an update on how everything's kind of been. Yeah, it feels like lots of things have happened since the last time I put a video. It seems a lot has happened and yet nothing big has happened. Although it's kind of be both of those things, but just in terms of like just of an update in terms of how this goes. First of all, on Wednesday, the 30th, I have to the meeting. I think they finally had this the big explanation of what of all the naming of the type of the type of the specifics of the tumor, which we know is always coming, but we thought it would come a little bit sooner than this, but it's come this soon. But yeah, that's on Wednesday of that. We had this explanation. This is the histology, and what that will do is that informs the two different types of chemo and radiotherapy. So we know that starts. I've had a crazy mask made before now, and that's the radiotherapy. That's going to start on the 4th of November, and that'll be every day, 5 days a week. 5 days a week for 6 weeks for radiotherapy, and then with every day for 6 weeks will be taking a chemotherapy, which is just a tablet I'll take. So that's going to start on the 4th of November. So we've kind of been waiting for that a little bit. I'm told we don't know what that looks like. I mean, I know that it affects some people in lots of different ways, but we're sort of ready for that. We're ready for the expectation of those things. So don't worry. Don't spend time worrying about me. It's just an expectation. So I know a few people who do get worried about these things, and we're just saying don't worry. It's, it's the expectation. It's something that's going to be part of this. So this is so please don't worry about that. I've realised now, and in the past recently, how much it's the operation that I said I would talk about. It did muddle me more than I thought, or it kind of took a bit more of a whack more than I realised actually. Again, not in a negative way. It's just how it kind of has been. But sometimes I find myself getting myself a little confused, or and still my speech, as you may hear, is really improved, which is great. I've been practicing at home, trying to explain more and more things than I can, or reading as much as I possibly can. What I don't feel every time I've done one of these videos so far, that I feel like I keep talking about not being able to read. And I want to be a reminder to all of my students that please, this is no excuse for you to be reading every single day, and always continue to read. Thank you. Never forget that. Always read. So don't think, oh, Mr. Webb's not got to read anymore. Then no, you got to read. You got to be reading every day. Thank you very much. That's very important. But that reading is getting better from my perspective, and it really, the thing that's frustrating for me is my inability to still really either pull for a metaphor or a word, a way of explaining my words in a cleaner way than I'm able to. That's the biggest frustrating way. The cleanest, I saw that Ben, I can't remember his name, Ben, who wrote the article that it was in the Leicester Mercury. I just feels like I just bumble my way through an idea that I'm saying. So I'm still working on that though. There's a speech, like what they called, like something to help come over. They were coming over today to work on my speech. In fact, by the time this video's out, I'll have spoken to them today. But it's to practice speech. So we'll see what they say about those as well. And our research is ongoing, different ways of just of helping, as well as the beyond chemo and radiotherapy, and the the research just continues to go on. I'm really pushing just to get back to running, and some fitness to try and help as much as possible. And if I ever pass you, or and I'm never ignoring anybody. My sight's a little bit funny. It's a little bit funny as well, and my hearing's a bit funny. So sometimes kind of like squinting, or kind of like really straining and listening. But yeah, if I ever do that, then that's never out of impoliteness and ongoing. I'm going to continue to go back to the amount of people if I've not come back to you yet, I'm still working through that. Sometimes it's very tricky. It seems extraordinarily busy. It's very busy. The big thing that I wanted to come back to is this idea of equanimity is the word. I think I might have said this in a previous word, but equanimity, it's the idea of equanimity is one. It didn't come from the Stoical philosophers, but it was big amongst these guys. But it's this idea of aiming for equanimity, aiming for calmness, and calming for looking for balance and looking for calm, and no matter what happens, if something, especially something that's meant to use a metaphor with the idea of like a storm, is the idea that if during something like a storm, you should aim for resilience and to bring calm and to bring like a centeredness back to yourself, even when you feel yourself being thrown about. This equanimity is a really big, it's an important one, but this applies to everybody. If you've not considered this idea that even something that's that can easily be something, especially something external, any kind of circumstances that are brought from from external powers or external things that are throwing you about, is to try and bring you back as quickly as possible to this idea of equanimity. Is to remind you, like, okay, the best way that's gonna get you through this is to remind you of the equanimity. I'm not saying I can never always get there straight away, but the quicker that you can shorten that gap between losing a feeling of losing central control or being worried, and it can cause you then to spiral out and panic and worry, and then feel a sense of losing control skipping out of your hands. You can remind yourself of those things. It's hard. I'm not saying it's easy to do, but I forgot that I did this straight away. But during my operation, which I said I would do a video about what happened during the operation itself, I do mean to do that, and I'll do that soon. But I'd written on my hand, because I knew I was conscious of this, I'd written the word equanimity on my hand, and I'd forgotten how to write it even properly. But I knew when I could feel myself thinking this might be almost threatened to make myself feel a worry of losing control. I'd remind you by seeing it on my hand of this equanimity. I'd see it written down and be like, okay, it's okay, but it's still okay. It still can be borne. Like this pain can be borne, or either the pain or something, any physical pain, as well as a mental worry or a panic or something. Bring yourself down to equanimity as quickly as possible. And I found even just seeing that written down on my hand was enough as a reminder. I'm not saying go walk around like a nutcase with equanimity on your hand, but to remind you sometimes that actually even anything that threatens you to feel like you're going to lose control, you've always got the power to bring that back to yourself. It sounds like a silly thing to say, but it's a way of bringing to getting that disturbed. If you're disturbed, not disturbed, if your calmness threatens to spill away from your hands, you can bring that back under control. Think about that. Just spend some time thinking about it for yourself. Think about it. Just when you have some time to consider this for yourself, like just mull over. Can you say mull over? To think over this idea. It's an important one, and it's worth your time and effort to consider those things. But yeah, so so thank you. Yeah, thank you again. Thank you again. The ongoing, there's still people continue to help in every single way, in lots and lots of different ways, and just the kindness that I keep getting from everybody is just incredible. It's going to be there's going to be there's lots of ongoing things. I'm not going to bore of everybody of all of those, but there's lots of things we're trying to do to try and to keep everything nice and calm. But everything we're trying to research is sort of ongoing. As you can see, I've got rubbish hair, and they said you got to try and keep your hair the same. And I've got this horrible it's like I've got this, just like I'm sort of bald in here, but that's not. It's just hair just kind of has to be left like this. And just one small thing, one small plea. I did have the other night. For those, it was in the evening, and it was my daughter. She's 9. She's in the front in the front room, and I think a group of girls who obviously know who I am and know where we live. They either knocked on the window and then shouted something and then ran away as a group. I get it, but that kind of thing, it kind of sort of shocked my daughter, and she came in. She said, "Oh, this just happened," and I don't know what they said, but they shouted something. They said something. If either just don't do that one, please. Or if you wanted to say hello or something important, come and knock and speak to anybody. But please don't do that, because I've got a family and we're all going through it right now. We're aiming for equanimity, our own, and that's hard if somebody's just knocking on or throwing. Or I don't imagine you're throwing things, but just please don't do that. On the whole, everybody's just been incredible. So that will just continue. I will be a little bit sooner with an explanation of the operation as it is, and there's lots of other things I need to share. That I would like to share with, and just my thoughts and things. But I realise these are long videos, so yeah. Thank you. If you have any questions, feel free to ask me. And thank you.